What's going on, guys? Tobin here with you. Thanks for checking us on out. I'm sorry. I mean, like, it's, another week, another loss for your Miami Dolphins, 23-21 this time to the dastardly New England Patriots. The Dolphins have lost 5 in a row and have dropped to 8-8. 500. They have gone from a situation where they looked like they were going to cruise into the playoffs, possibly win a division, to now not controlling their own destiny and needing to win next week and the Patriots to lose. Losing in a situation where they were up, things were looking pretty good. Fourth quarter, you're feeling, all right, you know what? Looks like Mac Jones stinking up the joint. Things could be looking up for the old Finns. And then the pick six happened. The pick six, Teddy Bridgewater throws a touchdown to the Patriots. The Dolphins go down by 2. And on that play, he gets hurt. Skylar Thompson comes in. And, I mean, that was just inept in every single way. Couple punts. Dolphins give up a dagger touchdown. They're able to get in the end zone one more time to bring it to within 2. But wouldn't you know it, Jason Sanders missed a field goal earlier in the game. So they needed an onside kick, and Jason Sanders kicked the worst onside kick I've ever seen in my life. I hope he walks home from Foxborough, dude. This guy has been an A1 Garfield all season, a.k.a. Fat Cat. He had a little bit of a resurgence there, but no real pressure. Nobody was really looking at him. Nobody had their targets aimed on the kicker anymore. We were all just like, oh yeah, like good for him. The expectations were so low that him just doing his job got him to skate. But the one moment you're like, could he do something a little bit clutch for us? Could he do something that I'm not? Could Jason Sanders do something not expected right now? And the answer, of course, to that is no. Is no. And while, yes, you may say, Tobes, you get a lot of anger at the kicker. We're really going to... The kicker is part of the game, ladies and gentlemen, okay? He scores points. They are critical. They can win games. They can lose games. And I look at certain moments of games, especially where you are not in the most ideal of situations, a.k.a. you're playing a backup quarterback and then playing your backup's backup. I look at those situations and say, well, you can't lose special teams. You can't get too many penalties. You can't give up turnovers. You got to try and be perfect in your way of playing a football. And the Dolphins were anything but that today. And so when he's going to leave points on the board, yeah, I'm going to be pissed at it, especially when he has been a bum all season long. And that's just the facts, dude. He has been. And it was nice that he had to have a little, like, in the part of the season where everybody really wasn't paying attention to him because all the games were losses and there were much bigger concerns than the field goal kicker making kicks. When you actually needed him to step up today, little 50-yarder, of course he wouldn't make it. Why would I expect him to make it? But he's not the only one. He's not the only one, you know. Certainly, I think for this game, you know, thought for sure that this was going to be an opportunity for Teddy Bridgewater to step up and lead his hometown team, and you know he was all right. It was nothing special. I did feel like once he got that touchdown run, I thought the Dolphins would be going at it and would start getting into a good position. I thought that their running backs looked pretty good today. I thought that especially Mostert, who it feels like they just go away. You know, it's weird because it feels like Mostert has these things where he's just blazing through, and I don't know if they're trying to save him or something, or like Mike McDaniel just goes with health analytics or whatever. He just feels like the guy's burnt out like an old iPhone, or what the hell's going on there. But like they just go away from him and then go to Jeff Wilson, who's cool, but like why not just ride the hot hand there, baby? I don't understand what we're doing. I don't understand what they're doing. And I think with this game, what's frustrating about it is, you know, you could sit here and you'd be like, oh, well, how many games can you expect to go win on the road with your third-string quarterback? Yeah, that would be a nice situation if you weren't going into this one with 4 straight losses already, and now I've lost 5 in a row and have completely handed over the reins of the playoffs to the New England Patriots. So you'll excuse me if I'm not exactly willing to give the old pass to, oh, they were on their third string quarterback. Yeah, he wasn't great either. And that wasn't a fun thing to watch at all. But I'm not going to sit here and be like, oh, poor Dolphins. They had to play Skylar Thompson. Yeah, all right, well, you know what? Maybe not blow the four most critical games of the season before that. The fact that the Dolphins are actually still alive in the playoffs, in spite of losing 5 in a row, is almost as much of an indictment as it is as it is a relief. Like the idea that you have had this much of a season collapse and yet still could find yourself in the postseason is almost as frustrating as it is relieving. At that really, really is almost mind-boggling that they still have a possibility to get into the postseason at this point. And, for Mike McDaniel, he's sitting here and he's gotten all the flowers and he's gotten all the roses. And today I would say, the pros pro, the guy who's been essentially pro player the entire time has never even whiffed on blaming his players, not even giving you a cent on blaming his players. Today was the first time he put any real call out of his roster all season, and this was a little bit of the Dolphins head coach after the game.
Guys have had opportunities to play. There's been people that have made some tremendous plays and done very well with their opportunities on the field. There's some guys that I think will feel in hindsight, looking back on it, that they could have done more. It doesn't matter at this point. It's all about responding. It's tough for anybody to really put themselves out there and accept these types of defeats in consecutive order. But we play a tough game, and absolutely nobody will feel sorry for us, as they shouldn't.
Nope, they aren't going to feel sorry for you, and there are going to be a lot of people who are. It's tough, man. It's tough seeing where the fan base is at today, because this was a season that was filled with a lot of hope. It was a season that was filled with a lot of joy. And to be in this spot where you at best can be 9-8 at best, when you last year were that, and you look at the type of talent that they have on offense, and you look at especially adding a Tyreek Hill, you look at what they have 2 years ago with a rookie quarterback and a bearded mascot and being 10-6, to go from that to this is very disappointing, especially from where you were, to be a spot where you haven't won a game in over a month. Over a month in NFL football, you haven't been able to find a ball to bounce the right way. You have found new ways to lose every single week. You have come out and it's felt like you've lost in every single style. They have felt like a team that has not been well coached, well put together. They have not felt like a mentally tough team. They have felt like a team that is just looking for the first domino to fall. And that is so opposite of what they were during their win streak, where it felt like you needed a key stop, you got it. You needed a big touchdown, you got it. And they've wilted, man. They have wilted in the worst possible way. And so even if they get to the playoffs, your confidence level is as to where it was when they were actually possibly a division threat to where it is now is crazy. And on top of it, you don't know the health of your quarterback. It doesn't sound like he's going to play this week, because the reports were out this week that his optimism and his hope that he could play would be if the Dolphins make the playoffs. That was the report from Jay Glazer today on the Fox pregame show, that Tua is more aiming for playing for the Dolphins in the postseason than he would be for the final week. And look, no rush, because, head injuries are no joke, but my God, do they need him, because Skylar Thompson just looks nowhere near ready, and Teddy Bridgewater's no first prize, dude. Like, they could talk up Teddy Bridgewater all they want and is a delight in the community, and is awesome story to have him back here with the Miami Dolphins. But that dude is just meh. He is nothing special. He is not meant to lead a team. He is just fine. That's all he is. He is a guy that had a devastating knee injury after a really promising start to his career. and now is just a guy who will be on rosters and they will talk you into, hey, this guy is good enough. But I mean, you want to talk about snake pit. The Dolphins have now what? They've gone with a non-Tua quarterback game. Every single one of them ends with a different quarterback that they start. It just that's how it's going to go. And him throwing that pick six was absolutely deadly. And the fact that he hurts his hand and then, like, you know, comes in, what was there, like 3 minutes left when he starts warming up again? Like, damage is done, my friend. Don't even bother. We're already knee deep in this. What are you going to come back in fourth down? You come and throw a Hail Mary? No thanks, dude. I don't really understand the point of that. That was strange. Here's a little bit more of Mike McDaniel, who says normally he's sad, but this is he's going to angry mode.
In this particular situation, I felt less sad and more angry, just at how certain things transpired, because I want desperately for everyone involved to get what I feel like they deserve, and when that's short, I struggle not to start with myself. I think that will always be the case, but I think we'll see on the tape that there's a lot of people that could have done X, Y, or Z that much better to win a 2-point loss.
Well, definitely the closest he's come to calling out his roster for not living up to level. I don't think Tyreek Hill played a good game today. Had a huge penalty at one point, and then had a ball that wasn't on him. It was a bad throw by Scott Thompson, but like Jalen Waddle had come up with a pretty big catch. You needed Tyreek Hill to come up with something, and it just felt like he just had no interest in it, or just didn't feel like he gave everything he could into getting that play. Had an awesome touchdown on the run and a great block by Sherfield to free him up, but I just didn't feel like we got the best version of Tyreek Hill today, which sucks because, he's the guy who's like, I can put up numbers with anybody. He said he could put up numbers with reporters. And I felt like this is probably his worst game of the season. And, with Mike McDaniel, I don't know what he's got to do to get through to these guys to stop getting that illegal procedure stuff and those illegal formation penalties. This has been a problem all season long. And I don't know if that's a product of the offense. I don't know if that's a product of how they practice. I don't know if that's, their version of like defensive coordinators who tell their cornerbacks to hold because they'll take the 5 yards every now and then if it means they could get the head start because it's not going to get called every time. But it's getting mind-numbingly frustrating to have those penalties come what seems at a critical time every single week, all the time. So that's brutal, man. That's brutal. To go to New England, to lose to that team that didn't really even feel like they had interest in getting into the playoffs. They have infighting between their coaching staff and quarterback, and to give up that game, just disgusting. And this entire run, and I am curious. Like, look, if they don't make the playoffs, if this ends with them at 8-9, or even if this ends with them at 9-8 and not making the playoffs, which now all of a sudden we gotta go donate to Bills Mafia or whatever the hell they whatever foundation they want, I guess, because you need to be big Bills fans over the next couple of weeks to think that they gotta have something to play for in that last week against New England. But to be in this spot right now, it is curious because you have a guy here in Mike McDaniel. They went all in this year. They gave up all the picks for star players, and I do wonder if this collapse does result in them not in the postseason, and it could be looked upon as one of the, arguably the greatest collapse in franchise history. What is Stephen Ross going to do? I didn't think Brian Flores was going to get fired last year. I didn't see that coming. I don't think a lot of people saw that coming. I think a lot of people were taken aback that day when he was let go, and there was certainly a lot of blowback that they dealt with from that. They were sued over it. And the entire theme of this year has been kumbaya, great relationship with Mike McDaniel and Tua Tagovailoa. This is not a quarterback that the owner has shown all the faith in. He tried to go get another QB. I mean, he was along there with the tampering with Tom Brady too. And this is so fragile to go from, thinking you have the best offense in the sport to here where you're maybe going to be bounced from the playoffs. He's old. He's, thinking about, already he's changed succession of the team now. He's talked about going from Bruce Beal to now keeping within his family. So he knows that it feels like the next chapter is coming for the franchise. What is his play here? Does this result in somebody getting, typically a collapse like this results in somebody getting fired? I don't think it'll be Mike McDaniel, because I feel like I like Mike McDaniel. I do like having a guy who is a little quirky, a little weird, thinks a little bit differently. I think this offense has been fun. I think he schemed a lot of things that haven't been executed to the best level. I think he's got giant grapefruits. I liked that 4th down call earlier in the game that he called it, and then they got a penalty, and then there was a running into the punter, and then they went for it again, and then that resulted in a touchdown. So I like a lot of the things that he brings to the table. That being said, like they always say, this is a results-oriented business, and for him to have this on his resume in year one, yeah, I wonder if that's going to be enough for the owner to look around and be like, I don't know about this guy. Or Chris Greer, who's been with the organization forever. Everybody seems to love the guy. He goes from hated to loved to hated to loved, and now everybody's looking to say, you gave a first-round pick for and $100 million to Bradley Chubb? Like, what are you thinking? I don't know. This is, or does it just result in, hey, the Tua thing was cute. We tried it this year. He couldn't make it through the end of the year. Let's go and get let's see if a disgruntled Lamar Jackson can't get to an agreement with Baltimore. Let's go to that move. I don't know. I'm not saying that these are the moves that I want to happen. I'm just curious right now, thinking and watching all of this unfold, what is going to be his move? Because my feeling is that if this ends with them not in the playoffs, and if they find their way in, I do feel like it softens the blow, certainly. But if they don't, yeah, I feel like Steven, who knows? He's a wild card, dude. He's a wild, from good and bad. Sometimes he'll give Joe Philbin an extension after a random win, and sometimes he'll fire, the coach, or he'll fire the GM and keep the coach. He's a wild card. You don't know. And I think that watching how this season has unfolded, and understand some unfortunate things have happened. This was a season that was played with, essentially, let's say Tua misses next week. That would have been Tua missing 4 games. That's a lot of games. That's a quarter of your season that he doesn't really, 4.5 because he was out of that Cincy game. So, more than a fourth of your season is played without your starting quarterback. That's no fun. But I don't think people are going to be listening for reason after the Dolphins making a big deal. This is the first time they've had waiting list and the fan base being as electric as it was for what everybody's feeling right now, which is not a lot of reason and not a lot of wanting to hear things out. People are pissed right now, and understandably so, after where they were to where they are. And I can't imagine the owner is going to be much different.